this is her work here. You'll see it, just like some of the great campaigns that she has worked on, taking pictures of. Yeah. I'm just going through a bunch, but she did Children's Hospital and NTSF.
Yeah, she did Do You Want to See a Dead Body? Basically any show that you like, Robyn Von Swank, there you go, shot the photo for it.
Yeah, the Keanu poster, like really awesome stuff. But tonight, we're not going to focus on the celebrities. We're not going to talk about any of that sort of stuff, because I think that sort of stuff it's fine. It's fun, but that's a good job. What I think is really interesting about what Robyn has been doing is she has really had these amazing experiences, these these adventures, and we'll bring her on and let's bring on Robyn Von Swank. Hey. Robyn,
hey guys,
what's up? Do we want to look at Krampus first?
Yeah,
do we want to look at? Let's go see
Krampus.
All right, so
I also brought this up.
Oh my God!
Oh, whoa! Okay, here we go.
I can't believe that's in your house. I cannot believe that.
I got kind of into it.
Whoa!
I get into things. So.
This is. I'm gonna just glide through some of these pictures, and you tell me when to stop. We have some videos.
Where was this?
Okay, so this one specifically, this was like a photo project that I did. So this is a place called Hostels in Austria. It's this very small town, unbelievably beautiful. Like it looks like it's a movie set. It's just this like old town. Everything's cobblestone. It's amazing. So in Austria, Czechia, and Germany, and some of the parts, mostly like southern Germany, they have this folklore tale about Krampus. And Krampus is this half goat, half demon. And it basically coincides with St. Nicholas, which is on December 5th, I think, 5th and 6th.
Right.
And so Krampus is like the opposite of St. Nicholas, but they're like friends in a lot of the stories.
Okay. Wait, they work together. I didn't know that. They work together.
Yeah, there's I'm not a folklore specialist in this, so I shouldn't say too much. But there's a few versions. But basically, they do a lot of these towns do this Krampuslauf, which means Krampus run. Okay. And they all dress up in these, like, their costumes are made out of like goat fur, and each individual mask is like carved by a master mask maker, and it's like wood, and it's carved to fit that person's face specifically. Whoa. And in this town, this is like a rite of passage for young boys. When they turn 16, they're allowed to like join, the Krampus gang or whatever.
It's kind of like I mean, what you're describing is kind of like the cooler version of like a Santa bar crawl. Like everyone's seen that, like, right? Yeah. Like I feel like, that always just seems like a bunch of drunk people like, but this feels like what we want it to be. Like this
I found out about this and I went immediately. And so all of a sudden there's like 30 of these dudes in pitch black, and they're all wearing these insane costumes, and they're huge. And it's like, it's hard to explain unless they're in front of you, because the noises they make, and like, so they have these giant cowbells on them. So they're really loud, and they run after you with like whips made out of like brooms, and they whip you and they chase you. And then there's like fireworks and like things, like it's insane. It was crazy. It's terrifying. So it's absolutely terrifying.
I want to see, and I know we've been having some sound issues, but I still think it's a pretty amazing visual, if the sound doesn't even work right now, of this Krampus run. And you can kind of see it. Maybe I'm going to boost up all the volumes and just to see how it looks, because it is so cool. All right, let me see. I'm going to stop my screen.
And how old are these guys? Are they like kids, or are they like 18?
From 16 to like 50. It's a tradition, and they do it every year.
That's that's terrifying. That's terrifying.
Okay, I think I may have figured out the sound issue. Okay, let's see. All right, so I'm going to do it like this.
I would have nightmares. Like, I would just have nightmares.
This is amazing and frightening.
And this is, yeah, I mean, this is nothing. I was too busy trying to take pictures and like run out of the way. So I wasn't going to, I had bruises all over my legs the next day. And they go
Wow.
really easy on tourists. Like,
wait, so they're just whipping tourists. This is, wow.
it's great.
Oh, wait, should we show the other one too? Is the other one good? Like the,
yeah, I think
the drunk Krampus?
Okay.
All right, so
this was after. So this was basically it's a very small town and it's a lot of tourists. And they have their own little pub, the locals that they go to after. And like, you're not allowed to go if you're a tourist. But I made friends with one of them and got in. And so this was right after the Krampus run where they're all getting drunk for many hours.
Oh my God.
Here we go.
What are they saying?
I have no idea. It's German.
Wow. Rob, I think I saw some sex whips in there, which is Rob's
there's no sex whips. I doubt there's any sex whips over in Krampus.
I love this.
Robyn, were you scared, uncomfortable, or were you just like, oh, I'm not gonna get hurt?
No, this is a pretty I mean, it's shocking when you like first see these, giant costumed demons coming after you. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely they do it like safer for the tourists. But when they know each other, they go after each other. Like they were messing with each other, or the other locals. So it was pretty funny. But this one was I was not in immediate danger in Austria.
Someone in the chat said this is like if PBS had a really fucked up travel show, like what we're doing right now. See the dolls, Robyn, the fucking
dolls,
the haunted dolls.
Why is the hair intact but everything else burnt? It's so upsetting.
And this is in Chernobyl?
Mm-hmm. This is the town Pripyat, which was the main city that got fucked up. And
you're just walking around there, breathing the air and not worried about it.
Well, okay. So there's different contamination levels. Unless you like hit something or there's like a dust that comes up or you're in a certain area, you're going to be fine. The first trip I went was, I went with my friend who's literally a health physicist at a university. His job is this, like we went to Fukushima together after this too. So he's the guy you want to go with somewhere like this. He like brought his own Geiger counter. Like,
wow.
His name's Phil. He's great. But anyway, so I felt good about this. And the first trip I went on was a tour. So they have lots of tours. Like you go on a bus, you go to the city, you do this. And then I realized that I really wanted to see more and I wanted to be able to go to places where they don't let people go. And so I hired a private guide. And I went a year later by myself. And so we were basically renting this little cabin outside of the 30-kilometer zone, which is the exclusion zone. And I was living in this cabin with this dude who's like, just this like older Ukrainian dude who like the only food we could agree on together were dumplings, like pierogi. And because he thought like avocados were like dangerous because they were green or whatever. I don't know. Wow. But he was great. And one night,
is this like an Airbnb situation that you're in? Or is it,
so there's enough people that go to Chernobyl as tourists that like they can have a rental outside of the city for like a bunch of people, right? But it was just me and this like dude that I didn't know. He's very lovely, but he was raised in the Soviet Union. So his whole like all of our conversations were about how much he misses it, how like the music was the best, and like all this shit. And he would only play this one cassette tape that he had. And it was like 12 songs of like old Soviet anthems and like disco music. So it was like my entire memory of this is just Soviet disco music. But anyway, so we would go and he would drive me out to the Resettlers. And it's all elderly people who live out there who, when the disaster happened, they had to leave, but they wanted to come back because this is where they were born. Yeah. This is their home. And they didn't care. They were like, we're coming back. We're staying here. It's technically illegal. So they don't really get any government assistance or anything. But yeah, these guys, they live out there. Like it's
Wow.
in the middle of nowhere. And so
when you go to these places, like where are you crashing with people that you meet? Are you staying in crappy hotels? Like, or is it different everywhere you go?
it's different. I used to stay in hostels a lot more when I was younger.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm over 30, so I don't want to anymore. But
Right.
yeah, it depends. It depends what country it is. Like
Okay.
there's some hostels in like Thailand that are amazing, but
Yeah.
here, no. You know what I mean? So it just
Yeah.
depends.
Are they
Yeah.
getting like? I mean, it's a silly question, but they're getting power and water and everything here. These resettlers, or
No.
is it? Oh no!
No,
Wow.
some of them. There's a couple of them. So there's different parts of it, right? Like one of the villages was 3 hours to get to because the roads are not maintained and nobody goes there. So there was like my guide had to like get out of the car and like push branches off the side of the road while we were going. Like
Oh,
it was insane. And yeah, so there was so at one point I wanted to go to this really remote place where nobody goes because it's just so far and it's only a village, right? And
right.
so it doesn't have the grandiosity of the town. So we get out there and it's just, this broken down abandoned village. And I go inside. By the way, when we get there, the snow on the ground is completely perfect and pristine. No, nothing. It had
Yeah.
just snowed. So I go into one of the houses and I'm taking pictures of like old shoes. And I get out and there's footprints behind me and they look like animal footprints. And I'm like, all right. So I call over to him and he very casually is like, oh, that is just wolf. And I'm like, there's a
Whoa.
wolf behind us now. Like they're watching us.
Whoa.
And he's
Whoa.
just like, it's fine. It's fine. We should go though. So
Yeah.
he just like casually walks over to the car. Like it's totally fine. But there is a lot of wildlife out there and they're very well fed because there's like bears, there's moose, there's like everything. They took over. So the wolves probably wouldn't have killed me, but it was still terrifying.
Whoa. What is
Robyn,
the
you sent me some clips. Should I queue any of them up? I have like Landlord and which one should I queue up?
Okay, so one night when we were staying in the little hut outside of Chernobyl, my guide kept telling me about the landlord, this mysterious landlord that was letting us stay there. And one night at midnight, I hear this knock on the door and open it up, and it's this guy. So I think it's Landlord 1.
Okay, Landlord 1. Here we go. I'm gonna just share my screen.
I feel
Here
like
we go.
this is going to be bad.
I feel like Rob, you're not gonna be able to sleep tonight either. All right, here we go.
Yeah.
All right, Landlord 1. So that is what that is just.
That's a jug of moonshine he made, and he was going around house to house sharing it with everyone. He was so drunk.
Whoa.
And then he ate a lot of meat and chased a fly. So it's not really scary, but I thought it was really funny. It was
I love that.
one of my favorite parts.
I love just like walking around and getting moonshine, like local moonshine. And when I was in Japan, they did like they had these like giant jugs of plum wine that was like kind of cool, like all very homemade. And I love that that idea that this is like that jug is so massive, but it feels like that's a great way to kind of meet your neighbors with a jug of moonshine.
Robyn, do you have to like, I'm sure it depends on where you are, but like, do you lay low that you are an American? Like, do you try to like, I imagine that the perception of us, like in a lot of the world is like, not too great.
So I went to Germany with my cousin last year or 2 years ago, I guess now. And somebody asked where we were from. He said Canada. And I said America, and the reaction was unbelievably different. So,
oh wow,
I'm also Canadian. So I just often have a Canadian patch on my backpack.
Oh, that's smart. Yeah, I mean, I spent a lot of time in Canada, in Montreal, and I heard so much shit talking of America there. It was very much Trump related, but you'd be walking down the street and you're like, oh wow, it's like yeah. So it was like you did want to kind of not admit it or be like, I know.
Pretty much. When I didn't want to get into a political conversation, I wouldn't mention it. But you know what? When Trump won, I was actually in an airport in Germany, and the time difference messed with me. And I remembered being in this airport. I see a TV, and I see that he won. I just drop all my luggage and start crying. And these Germans just like came up to me and started hugging me.
Oh, wow.
It was
Wow.
Yeah. So, you know,
That's
they have
bonkers.
empathy for us.
All right. So where are we going next? We're going to go to Italy, you think? Or what do you think?
Look at the mafia stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Which one
All
is
right,
that one?
so
Is that?
that's the thing.
Yeah.
I don't really have pictures of this because,
Okay. Okay, great.
but you can look at, I mean, for cool visuals, you can look at like Italy Abandoned because
Got it. Okay. Well,
I
yeah.
would
As you
just-
tell the
yeah.
story, we'll be able to. I'm going to do that.
those are just villas that I would break into with my, at the time, boyfriend, now husband.
Oh, look at that.
Anybody who will do that with you, you know, it's a good
Yeah,
marriage
that's a good
material.
thing.
Yeah. How did you meet your husband? You met him traveling?
I met him in Vietnam in the jungle, and him and his friends, they're all military guys. So they all had like motorcycles and like headsets and like walkie-talkies and stuff. And they were like, they were driving through Vietnam on motorcycles. And I met them and I said, hey, can I hitch a ride with you? Because I had to go hike at the world's third largest cave. And I was set to be there in like 3 days. So these guys I jumped on the back of their motorcycles and went into the middle of the jungle for a few days with these guys, and yeah, married one of them eventually.
Wow, Robyn, you I didn't even know all these things. Like you really are leading this is what people dream of doing. Like, I would love to do that, go to the jungle of Vietnam. Like, I guess this is like it. I mean, it is, Rob was asking about being an American, but I'd also ask, like, is it scary at all to be a woman in that thing too? Like going there as a woman?
Yeah, it depends where. Not Southeast Asia.
Okay.
But yeah, like anywhere else kind of. Here even. But actually, real quick, the day I was supposed to leave Ukraine, I booked a hotel on like one of the hotel booking things, and I get there and it's like midnight and it's not a hotel. It's like a huge old Soviet bloc brutalist building. And this woman who speaks no English just like meets me there, brings me in, and it's this tiny creepy room. And I'm like, okay, I thought I could order a cab for the next morning to get my plane at the reception desk, but there's no reception desk. So anyway, my phone was messed up, so I couldn't do it myself. And there's no Wi-Fi. So she calls her son, and I guess they ordered me a taxi. She said there will be taxi there tomorrow. So I'm like, okay, I can't do anything else. There's literally nowhere to go. It's 30 below. I'm in the middle of nowhere. So the next morning at 7 a.m., I go out to the parking lot and I look around. There's no taxi. And then this guy gets out of his car and he goes, taxi. And I'm like,
oh boy.
Well, I don't really want to miss my plane. I might get kidnapped. I don't know. So, against everything. Yeah, I got in. Yeah, he turned out to be super cool, and we listened to Rod Stewart. But it was, I could have totally.
There's a leap of faith that you got to take. There's the leap of faith that's happening.
Yeah, I should have done that. There's a few times where I shouldn't have done shit like that. But
when do you feel like? When you're shooting a place, do you feel like, okay, I'm done. I shot everything I can shoot. I'm out of here, or are you just like, I'm here for 3 days and I'll shoot all 3 days and then go home?
Yeah, I mean, it just kind of depends where it is. Like Chernobyl, I went back a few times because it's endless. Right. And yeah, I think there's several places I want to go back to because I always feel like I need more.
Are you bringing more than one camera with you, or are you I think people are asking a couple questions about like that kind of stuff. Like, do you shoot with a specific kind of camera? And that's the first one, and I'll ask the next one in a second. Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I used to shoot with my Canon Mark V. I can't even remember what I have anymore. One of the Canons, and that's my studio camera for regular stuff. But no, for travel, I use Sony's A7R III right now because it's really compact and the ISO is amazing. So you can shoot really well in the dark without a tripod. And I hate tripods. I like to, my shooting style is like, I have a very short attention span, and I like to run in and just get shit done and, not have to like set things up. That's why I would be a terrible landscape photographer, because I don't want to sit there with a tripod and like wait. And so yeah, I have 2 lenses and that's it. And I keep them in my bag, and just whip them out because
All
I
right.
think for speed is the most thing for me when I'm
One
traveling.
more like photo question. What's your standard ISO setting?
It just depends how dark it is.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that seemed like I thought that would probably be the answer, but I was like, maybe there's something I don't know. All right, so the mafia guy in Italy.
Okay.
What do we know?
I like this creepy doll for Rob here.
Yeah.
Yes, dude.
This was
Yes.
a doll hospital. This was some old Italian guy who just had a doll hospital and would
A
fix
doll
dolls. It was
hospital.
amazing. Yeah, go back. That was
yeah.
the
Oh, I call the
There he is, right? There's the doll hospital. There's the doll
fixing
doctor.
stuff.
Wow.
But it took me 4 hours to find because like Italian streets are insane. You can't find anything. Italy is insane. So yeah, okay. So this one is not PG.
Okay, that's fine. We're
Warning
not a
to
PG
all.
show. We are not a PG show.
Okay, so this was my very first trip when I was in my early 20s, right? So I had no idea what I was doing. I was just like, whatever, and I, no real sense of danger. So I had just broken up with a boyfriend, and I was in Florence, and I wanted to get laid. So I met this reasonably attractive guy who had swagger, and he looked like he was like dressed from like the 70s, and he was just like a really cool guy. And I was like, all right, he'll be fine. So I showed up at his flat, and it was an apartment like looking over the Duomo, which is like not cheap,
Yeah.
And he had told me, he's like, I'm Italian mafia, like I'm Napoli's like mafia prince. And I was like, okay, whatever. But the more that I was with him, I was like,
that's what I used to say. I used to say that all the time.
Prince, I don't know if they have like, a monarchy, but whatever. So anyway, we hung out drinking red wine and like playing cards or whatever. And he had like a bunch of rings on, and it was just, I was like, all right. So anyway, I don't know if he was in the mafia. He probably was at this point, honestly, now that I've looked back. But so it was time to go to the bedroom, and he offered me what is going on? Sorry. He offered me a massage, and I was like, yes. Who's going to turn down a massage? So I stripped down on the bed. He then proceeds to cover my entire body with a giant bottle of Johnson's Baby Oilio.
Oh my God.
My entire body, like it was like thick. It was just like slathered all over my body. It was the most disgusting feeling.
It's the worst feeling. I'm thinking on my body right now. I'm like, it's not relaxed. It's tensing you up.
It was horrible. And then his like massage was just horrible. It was the worst massage I've ever had. And just trying to get me naked. I'm like, I would have already gone.
You're already there. Yeah, you're already there.
At least give me a massage. Anyway, I was just like, at this point, I'm like, I can't have sex with this guy because if he gives me a massage like this, it's going to be terrible sex. I don't want to risk getting the STD. There's like, there's.
So, by the way, all that oil in your skin, it's going to seep into other air. Like, let's keep it all clean.
Yeah. And, at the time, I was like, my way out of this is a really quick hand job. So I did that. Now I know I could have just like been like, no thanks, but at the time I was like, well, he wasted a whole bottle. It's expensive. So
he spent so much money on the baby oilio.
So anyway, right after I just run into a shower. I'm like trying to get this oil off me. Half of it gets off me. Like you can't get it off. He jumps in behind me, starts like washing his hair. And so I like, jump back out.
He came into the shower?
Yeah. He's like, "Ooh, sexy. We have sexy shower." He just did this all the time. It was very amazing. And so I jump out, I put my dress on, which is now fucking destroyed because of the oil. Like I'm still dripping oil. And I just like book it out of the front door. And he runs after me in a very small towel, screaming, I love you, with the flowers that he got me, like throwing them. So we went down to the street screaming.
Robyn, this is amazing.
Robyn, you are the first guest to tell a graphic sex story on the show.
And congratulations. People are loving it in the chat. People are going bananas. I want to ask you, just, we were looking at some of your photos here too. And I just, I just want to ask, like, how do you get like this street photography that there's so many great shots of people. Like, are you ever asking for permission, or are you just on the down low sneaking them out? Because yeah.
So when you ask, people tend to just pose or like do something. So it depends. These are all, sneaky shots. The great thing with the Sony is it has a quiet shutter, so you can turn off the shutter and people don't
Got
know.
it. Yeah, so you just kind of keep it down by your waist or something like that.
And obviously there's certain situations or certain people that I'm not going to photograph if it's like, not appropriate. But
yeah,
I'm not selling them. I'm just kind of like, they're my vacation photos.
One of my favorite memories of you, Robyn, was when you used to come around the set of Children's Hospital. And like, I remember one time, I think I was just like, I had like some time between shots, and you and I went down because the way back, Children's Hospital used to shoot in a real abandoned hospital. And then we got kicked out of that place. We had to go to a different place. But like, so you, I think, had the idea, let's go down to the morgue and shoot some photos in the morgue of like me and my scrubs and everything. So we took, I should have posted them so we could show them. But like, so I have all these creepy pictures of me in a real hospital morgue, like where we shot Children's Hospital, but it was like an empty, abandoned, spooky hospital. And Robyn and I just walking around, like having a great time shooting, where there used to be like so many dead bodies. Oh, it was so bad.
I love this.
I was really into spooky hospitals at that time. There was, do you remember Linda Vista?
Yes.
Yes.
We shot Human Giant there. We shot some Human Giant there. Yeah.
Linda Vista is an old insane asylum or psychiatric hospital where I think they shot some of the Nightmare, like the Friday Nightmare Before. Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nightmare on Elm Street there. Yeah. That's where the basement scene is with, go ahead.
But yeah, so that place, you used to be able, this was like when I was like 18, we used to go down there and slip the security guard like $20 and go in there at night. And one night I spent the whole night in there by myself, trying to like see if there was ghosts, because everybody.
Is that on Curiosities? That's not on Curiosities. Come on.
They're really bad pictures. It was when I was putting excessive textures in Photoshop on my stuff, and sadly, and it's gone now. They I heard it. We shot there and it gave you so much production value. I will say this. I just want to show, because he was on the show tonight, this great picture that you took of Brett Gelman and Janixa for their Christmas card, which is such a beautiful, fun shot, different than what we've been looking at. And a lot of people have been asking to see this picture of June that I think it's here. People want to see it. I will, maybe it's here. I don't know. People probably
have been
asking. Comedy.
Look at all these famous people. Look at them all.
Yeah, you have some amazing shots here. I mean, you can really spend so much time looking at these cool shots. Like, I mean, there's Lauren Lapkus, and this is like Stan versus Evil, Whitney Cummings, Nick Offerman, like just great shots. I mean, you can really get lost in your site. It's awesome.
I do actually have one good little story about a celebrity, since I was trying to find them, but I was like, none of these are that interesting.
Is it a sex story? I hope it's a sex story.
No, it was Nick Offerman. That photo I took of Nick Offerman. It was on my birthday one year, and we were in the woods. It actually looks like it's like comped in, but it's not. That's an actual forest. And it was for like Funny or Die or something. So we got to go to the woods, and he like taught me how to chop wood properly and like how to use an axe. And I was like a huge fan of Parks and Rec at the time. And it was like, that was like the time when it was really big. Yeah. And it was just like one of the coolest things that ever happened to me. Well, for
people people who don't know this, like, Nick has his own wood shop, like where he makes his own furniture and he opens it up to other woodworkers. If you have not seen it, if you like Great British Bake Off, or British Bake Off, I don't know if it's called Great. Amy Poehler and Nick Offerman did their own version of that with crafting, and it's fantastic. It's awesome. It's but like he's got he is a man of wood. Like it's something really really cool. Like his furniture is awesome looking, and he's like a real deal interesting guy. I love it.
Yeah, he's awesome. Speaking of crafting, I'm making a dollhouse right now. It's going to be
no.
it's going to be really creepy, Rob.
Oh no.
Whoa, get that dollhouse out of here.
No.
Robyn, this is great. I feel like we would love to have you back one time to talk about more of your stories around the world, because it really is like, I mean, these are the best travel stories. I mean, you're
so
living the
cool.
life that we all want. Yeah.
Anytime someone comes on the show and tells a sex story, we're all on board for that. Everybody's on board.
I definitely have a near kidnapping one in Southeast Asia. Even
Whoa.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
for next time.
All right.
Leave them wanting more. Robyn, thank you so much.
Great to see you, Robyn.
Good to see you guys.
All right. Bye.